This is the village of Morhet, M-O-R-H-E-T, and we're in a local cemetery. But the house back here was the divisional headquarters of the 17th Airborne when they were deployed into Belgium. And this would have been their first stop, probably Dad's first stop.
There is an interesting story here. This is the presbytery, the former presbytery. And once the German came back into the Bulge, into the Ardennes, sorry, on December 16, the priest was aware that they could have some interest in the mess wine, the mass wine. So he decided to dig a hole in his garden to put the bottles in the ground, in the idea of bringing them back after the battle. But in the meantime, the signal company of the 17th Airborne came in because General Miley was setting his CP here somewhere. So the guys from the signal company, they dug trenches to put the lines underground. And at one time, one of the guys heard a cling under his shovel. And so he discovered all the bottles. And you know the rest of the story. So, for the people who haven't seen the picture yet, this is a picture taken in December. Je vais le faire en 3 groupes, parce que sinon il y a trop de monde. This is the actual picture taken 70 years ago. You can see the glass window and the big wall there.
So Bastogne is here, where your hotel is located. This is the road to Neuchâtel over here. So when the division came from south, they've been transported on this road. They've been bivouacked somewhere along the road, and they walk toward the front line. So Morhet is here on the map.
In this area is where the 513th Parachute Infantry Regiment was dug in at the Battle of the Bulge. And you can see these open fields that then go into these really deep, thick forests. And I mean, these trees, you can see it gets pretty dark and deep in there. I'll move over to the other side of the road. And this is the road where the 513th moved up to and dug in with their foxholes.
I got a souvenir.
This is a little better picture of the Ardennes forest. And it's almost as if the trees were planted in rows. But very interesting. What I also found interesting is inside the forest here, this green ground cover. It's hard to believe these guys lived outside in this. Okay, this is the edge of one of the small forests, and maybe a little hard to see, but step up here. This is one of the foxholes that was dug by the 513th Parachute Infantry Regiment. It's a very, not a very deep hole, but this is where they were dug in.
All right, let's go.
Can we have everybody into the booth? Greg's probably the last.
These are Belgians who are committed to keeping the memory of the 17th Airborne alive and what they did for the liberation of their country. And there's probably about 20, 25 of them accompanying us on this trip. Okay, we're in the village of Majorat, and this was the first command post of the 194th Glider Infantry Regiment. So being that Dad was an HQ company, it's quite possible they think one of these buildings was the actual command post. So when they deployed to the Battle of the Bulge, this is where they staged. They only spent one night here before they moved up to the front lines, which is towards Humont, which is where we're going to be heading next. But this is likely pretty close to where Dad was when he first got deployed here. I'm going to swing back over to this side because there's a kind of an interesting church here. There's some more houses along the main street, and this is definitely where the 194th was set up, and this was the first command post. The village of Humont. This was the scene of some very heavy fighting. And hopefully Lenny and Sandy will recognize this. There's the church.